So Kieran, how does it feel to be back in Hull?
It's great. I haven't been back for a few years, but there's been lots of change. And I just walked around the city this afternoon for a half hour, and I could see all of the building work that was underway for the City of Culture celebrations next year, so that looks very exciting. And obviously we walked through the university this afternoon, and again it's changed quite dramatically actually. I was surprised at the scale of everything, because the buildings that we're in here now were the Polytechnic or the college when I was here, so weren't really part of the university, and back then it was only 3,000 students or so. So it's grown hugely, but it's great. It brings back lots of very fond memories.
What made you choose to come to Hull?
I had a cousin who came here, I guess back in the early 70s. He always used to rave about it. And if it was small when I was here, it must have been even smaller when he was here. But he always raved about it, but that was years before. And then I came up here. I visited 5 or 6 universities, and I was quite keen on going somewhere that was far enough away from home that I wouldn't come home. I felt like I wanted to make a break, so the distance was good. And then when I came, I just found it was incredibly friendly, and I was seduced by the array of facilities, mainly the several student bars that looked very attractive at the time. But overall, it was just a sense of friendliness, and it made an immediate impression on me. And I actually fouled up my A-levels the year I took them, and I could have gone elsewhere through clearing, but I had my mind set on coming to Hull, so I did my A-levels again, and I got here. But there was an immediate sense that this was the right place.
And is that what you remember most about your time at Hull, that friendliness that you experienced on campus?
Yeah, very much so. And it was a great, I think my time here had a quite profound impact on me personally and professionally. And the friends I made when I was here are still my friends now. And yeah, it wasn't just with the students, but also with the community in general. It was felt like a very open and friendly community. And we lived in Cottingham, which was a beautiful environment. So it was, very friendly.
What would you say is there any kind of nugget that you learned during your time here that's helped prepare you for the career that you've had after graduation?
Yeah, I think you learn to be yourself, and be yourself, and be comfortable with who you are, and open with other people. I think that's an important quality in whatever walk of life you're in, and university had that impact on me, I think.
Do you have any words of advice for anybody who's thinking about coming to study at Hull?
Well, come. It's great. It's a great place. It's obviously very different now than when I was here, but clearly the students that are here and the faculty are very passionate about what they do and very welcoming. And it's a great town. I'm sure it's still great value for money, and it still has a reputation for being one of the friendliest universities. So yes, I would highly recommend it.
Obviously, after graduation, you went on to have a great career in the film industry. What has been a particular highlight for you within those years? Is there any one kind of event or activity that stood out?
There are a couple of things. I mean, the big success that I've enjoyed and the company enjoyed was the success of Avatar, which is still the highest grossing film of all time. Star Wars didn't come anywhere near beating Avatar in international markets. That just shows how phenomenally successful and culturally significant that movie was in its time. And we worked very closely with Jim Cameron and the filmmakers on that project for many years. leading up to release, and the international group that I'm part of was, I think a big factor in the success it enjoyed. So that was a highlight, of course. Before that, when I was at Polygram, working on films like Four Weddings and a Funeral, which was a real sort of game changer, was tremendously exciting. Although, at the time, at the time when we released it, it became the highest grossing British film of all time, but you never know that. You don't know what you have so often in marketing. I do remember the day I first saw it. I went to a dingy screening room in Soho, and they said, "We've got two films for you. We're going to show you Backbeat," which was this movie about the Beatles, the fifth Beatles, Stuart Sutcliffe, and this little British movie called Four Weddings and a Funeral. And we came out of the screening room and thought, Backbeat is going to be huge. Just the Beatles, and the performances are great. And Four Weddings, it's very charming. And but we all thought that Backbeat was going to be the movie that exploded. But of course, it didn't work out that way, and Backbeat disappeared. And Four Weddings went on to become a phenomenon that summer. So that was something I remember.
With that in mind then, obviously they sound like fantastic campaigns to work on, but do you have a favourite film?
Yeah, well, it depends on what mood I'm in, really. I like older classic movies because when I saw them for the first time, they had a much greater impact on me. And the problem is now I know what every movie's about, so they don't have the same impact on me as movies I watched for the first time when I was a kid. Old classic movies like The Maltese Falcon, I love that movie, or The Searchers, which is an old John Ford Western. And seminal films like that, you see elements in those movies that get remade in other movies over time. But those movies I've always loved. And many others besides. It's a Wonderful Life. I watch that every Christmas at least. And it's on, especially if you can see it on the big screen, it's a different experience. But those sorts of movies have, had a profound impact on me when I was young, and introduced me to the idea of storytelling and the power of cinema to impact on people's lives and emotions. And I was always very intrigued by that.